You got his name?
They said his name is Adam Oakes.
Got a young male born in 1999, I think it was. He doesn't live here. He's a student at VCU. Got 4 guys here. I guess they were partying last night. They saw him around about 12:30 last night. Came back down this morning around about 9:17. He was unresponsive.
Do you see the vomit right by the fence?
Yes. See, he was on his side. Some blood on
It could have been anything. It could have been the alcohol. It could have been just the fact he passed out and that was it. Hit his face and then took a dive.
Hey, was he intoxicated last night?
Yeah.
I went to Big Brother, and he didn't find out who he was and why.
So he didn't affect it.
He wanted to be up there. He wanted to be interested.
Interesting. He
think it
wants
was
to
some-
be, he was a pledge.
You think it was some problem?
Based off what based off of what you're saying about this cat that was here that wasn't here, sounds like there was a little bit of you want to ride. You guys are good detectives.
Tonight, a Virginia family is searching for answers.
The Richmond Police Department says it has no updates in an ongoing investigation.
Police found the 19-year-old VCU student unresponsive.
Adam Oakes was excited to find out he was invited to join Delta Chi fraternity. Now the 19-year-old student is dead.
Adam was offered a bid to join Delta Chi. He had to go to a party on Friday night to start the initiation process.
An initiation party they suspect involved hazing and alcohol.
Oakes was told to drink an entire bottle of whiskey.
Adam passed out at the fraternity house and was discovered dead there Saturday morning.
They whipped him over and half his face was normal and then the other half was purple.
Adam Oakes' heartbroken family says they will not let grief stop them from demanding answers.
We deserve answers. Adam deserves answers. Adam was super happy. He was always, joking around, having fun.
The last time I picked him up there, he gave me a hug that was life-changing. And I looked at him, I was like, that's the best hug I've ever had in my life. And he just said, I know, right?
Even for an 18-year-old kid, he was so good to his little cousins. I mean, my kids looked up to him so much, and he loved being around them.
One was when he was in Pee Wee football. He tackled a boy, and the boy was hurt. Adam came running out, and I was in the stands. I came down, and I said, what was wrong? What happened? He said, Daddy, that was my friend, and I hurt him. And I was telling him I'm sorry.
I walk into the house and Adam was already there. Very first time I saw him, I looked at it, the first thing I ever said to him too was, this guy, I like this guy,
Adam was very, very outgoing, very, very funny. Just always had that smile on his face at all times.
He's very easy to talk to, very easy to be friendly with, always talking about sports, always talking about something that gauges your attention.
I knew Adam to be a really nice guy just from how I always saw him smiling.
I would always tell the guys, if anyone gets a bid, it needs to be him. On the way to my house, I stopped by the liquor store. I bought a regular bottle of Jack Daniels, and then I bought a bigger one.
Early evening, the kids are all at a house, essentially taking their vow to the fraternity. They wait up in a bedroom to be brought down one by one on the staircase to meet their big brother, which is the big little ceremony with all the brothers lining at the bottom of the staircase and then one brother on the staircase announcing. And next up is Adam Oakes. And his big is Andrew White, and then everybody starts cheering, and Andrew would have a drink, and the idea of that is that you chug the drink.
After that, I gifted him the bottle that I bought for him, And then I explained to him how when I was in his position, you know, I finished mine. Even though you're not telling him to down this bottle, like, it's understood that, you know, people are gonna get drunk. Even if there's no malicious intent, like, it's the riskiest night of the semester.
And Jason kind of had like a pep talk with them and was like, the intention of tonight is to get as up as you possibly can.
And so made his first cup, and it was straight liquor, and pulled it back like it was water.
Adam finished the bottle, in which case he was intoxicated, but so were all the other boys.
I was kind of relieved that he finished it so fast, and so I was like, okay, dude, congrats, like, you finished it. Well, now it's time to throw up. And so we went outside. I pulled Trig. After I did, he felt comfortable, so he put his fingers in his mouth and made himself throw up. And so after that happened, my guard went completely down. I thought everything was okay. I thought everything would be fine.
A lot of the big brothers took their little brothers to their houses to watch over them, but Adams didn't.
So after X amount of time goes by, I'm looking around, I'm like, where is he? And that's when I see him back out on the balcony, and he's kind of leaned over it like he's throwing up again. So I go out to check on him, and then I saw his legs start to buckle.
And that's the first when I noticed he was very drunk.
And so that's when I waved up a bunch of guys. We helped him inside, found a spot on the floor, we gave him a pillow, laid him down.
We all scrambled around to get a pillow, a blanket, and a bottle of water, and helping put him down on the ground.
And then he fell asleep, you know, within a few minutes.
I remember telling myself back ahead just to watch him and see if he needs anything, and, you know, don't leave the room.
I could tell he was very drunk, but at the time, like, I didn't think much of it because I just thought, okay, maybe he needs water, maybe he's gonna sleep it off or something.
And then I think Andrew stayed with Adam for a little bit, but then thought Adam was fine, and also thought he heard Adam snoring, but Adam didn't snore, and that's why I think that Adam was starting to die then.
I'm checking on him throughout the night and saw no problems. You know, I honestly didn't have a worry in the world. I thought everything was gonna be fine. So I went around the room. I'm like, hey guys, he's fine, right? He looks fine. So I left, and you know, I completely just expected to wake up the next morning, bring him a Gatorade or something, and take him out to brunch. And then when I woke up at like 9 a.m., that's when I found out.
One of the brothers that lived in the house called me, and I just froze for a second and didn't really quite grasp what was going on.
In the group chat, guys were saying, you know, oh my God, Adam's dead, Adam's dead. And, you know, I'm thinking they're f***ing with me. You know, people say, oh, they're dead, passed out, drunk, oh, he's dead. I'm like, oh, he's dead asleep, you know what I mean? But then it started to get a little more serious, like, no, he's f***ing dead. Like, he's not waking up.
I was actually, you know, watching TV, and Linda was asleep, and I heard a bang on the door, and I looked through the ring, and it happened to be 3 Loudoun County sheriffs. And I can remember walking down the hall in the house to get Linda. I just felt something was really, really wrong.
And immediately I was in denial. I was like, whatever. Tell me why you're really here. Eric just immediately was like, just screaming no.
It just felt like something came in and ripped my heart out. You know, just knowing that your only child, the one that you'd cared for, the one that you'd prayed for many years, was gone.
Adam never did anything without Linda, and Linda never did anything without Adam. Just wasn't. I mean, sometimes Linda would go and check Adam out of school just because she missed him.
I used to stay up because Adam was the only child and he didn't have any siblings to play with, so I'm the one playing Call of Duty, and we'd stay up all night, like till 4 o'clock in the morning. And then when he got older, he was going out with his friends, and he would call me at 4 o'clock in the morning to come get him. Oh, I miss those phone calls at 4 in the morning.
My dad was actually, he had stage 4 cancer, and I had to go over and break the news to him that his grandson died. And it's one of the hardest things to do because, you know, he loved Adam a lot.
It was hard to pick up the pillow he slept on. It was hard to see the place where he lived. He still had packages that were mailed to him from my grandma that he'll never open.
Planning your own child's funeral's the worst. It's just the worst feeling that you could have as a parent, as a person.
We sat in the living room and really we just cried. And then a couple of his friends started to talk about memories and started to talk about good stuff. But then eventually that good stuff turns to anger. Like, why did this happen? What happened? Because a 19-year-old kid isn't just found dead.
The only thing that they told me was that your son has passed and alcohol was a factor and we don't detect any foul play at this time. And I'm like, what the hell does that mean?
I'm Allison Martin. I was the prosecutor who handled the case involving Adam Oakes. The fraternity, the local ritual was that you chugged that first family drink with your big brother. Adam's turn comes up. He's matched with Andrew White. Andrew White, importantly, hands him a handle of whiskey. And the reason that's important is because we've got a handle which is bigger than the bottles that everyone else is getting. And because it's dark alcohol, that's a killer. His alcohol level at the time of death was probably in excess of a 0.40. He didn't have a chance. He might have had a chance if someone had realized hours earlier.
There were 3 or possibly 4 911 calls for noise disturbance, and the police never responded. At any point, had they knocked on the door and asked them to stop, or if they'd come inside, they would have seen Adam needing help and would have immediately called an ambulance and got him help. And he'd still be alive today.
As soon as I hung up, it seriously felt like a nightmare. It seriously felt like it wasn't real. And it felt like any moment I was just gonna wake back up again and everything would be fine.
And kind of crippling anxiety that it felt like a weight, an anchor was on top of my chest.
I was shocked, confused, went into a panic attack. My roommate just knocks on my condo door and says, "Hey dude, the cops are here."
My mom's calling me and she's hysterical, she's crying. And she said police came to the house and that they surrounded the house and that they said I needed to go to jail.
So, I put some shoes on, I walk over there, and they ask me if I'm Jason. I say yes, and they told me to step outside and immediately throw cuffs on me.
And they basically set it up to pick all of us up at the same time. I didn't even know what to think. It was a huge shock for me.
So at first I have no idea why they're in there, and then I'm officer, what is why am I being arrested? And then he finally was hazing misdemeanor, use your imagination.
I wanted to be in law enforcement. I even thought about being a police officer. And just seeing them handcuff me and throw me into a van, it was, to use the word terrifying is an understatement.
When I got to the jail, usually, when you get misdemeanor charges, you can post bail if it's something light. But I was denied bond.
Because we were denied bond, we couldn't see the judge, so we ended up staying Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and most of Monday. It was just awful. I was locked in a cell that only had a bed and a toilet. I remember just laying there in bed in an orange jumpsuit thinking, this is really happening.
I called my parents, and then I walked into the courtroom Monday morning, and my parents saw me wearing a jumpsuit.
The minute I got the opportunity to get a phone call, I called my mom. It was hard to explain what was going on.
I felt like I let my parents down.
I felt like a disappointment. I felt like like I'm just like a...
It was a total nightmare.
I wasn't scared. I knew it was coming. In a way, I felt like I deserved it. You know, I walked straight into court, pled guilty to both charges because there was no other alternative. You know, I was guilty. I provided him the bottle. You know, I hazed him by having him drink it. And to put the family through some sort of trial is just unfathomable to me, to relive that. So it was something that I had to do.
I had to look them in the eye and tell them I'm sorry that I didn't do anything. I'm sorry that, you know, I was there, I was the president, and I didn't do anything about it.
To any kid who's watching this really could be you. Like, this could have been me. This could be your best friend. This could be some guy in your class who you don't even know that well, but this could be anybody. No one's safe from the dangers of excessive drinking and of hazing.
You see a lot of incidents about hazing where it's like, you know, a guy is, you know, falls over, hits his head, or he's barfing all night, or something, you know, something rather obvious, and his skin's blue in the face, you know. But with Adam, you know, I just didn't notice any of that, and so I think it's important for people to know that it, you know, sometimes like it'll seem like it's fine. Like you'll see someone just sleeping, you know, but then they don't wake up. Whenever I see his picture, you know, especially the one where he's smiling and stuff, I think about his parents, I think about his family, and I think about all the pain that I've caused them and how there's nothing I could do.
I was excited to be with him in a fraternity and grow with him, and I think we would have been close friends for a very long time. This is a way to turn something absolutely horrible and tragic into something positive, and something that we can actually build on and prevent from ever happening again.
Every time they get down, that's what I have to remind them of, is like, even when we're long gone, Adam's Law will still be here. So he'll still be here. And then they kind of perk up a little bit, because it's true. There'll always be a law that's in his name that makes a difference for kids.
Something could happen. It could be a stupid Facebook memory that pops up, and I don't know what's wrong. What happened? You know, Linda's there crying, you know, uncontrollably for hours. It's horrible. Going to bed at night, crying yourself to sleep. You know, just wanting to hold your child one more time and not being able to.
A bill championed as Adam's Law is moving forward in the General Assembly. It's one of two anti-hazing bills honoring VCU freshman Adam Oakes.
The version of the bill that passed requires that schools publicly post founded instances of hazing online. Another bill would give immunity to bystanders who ask for help when hazing is happening. It also toughens the criminal charge if a victim is seriously injured or dies, from a misdemeanor to a felony, which can carry a 10-year sentence.
We want to make real change so that no other kid goes through what Adam went through that night.
Governor Glenn Youngkin signs an anti-hazing bill into law in honor of VCU freshman Adam Oakes.
It's just showing that all the hard work and all the steps that we've taken since Adam's passing are coming to fruition.
Through this law, Eric Oakes sees his son's legacy living on.
I mean, Adam looked after other people. He's doing it again today, you know, trying to help others and make sure that they, you know, have a safe experience.